Konnichiwa, and welcome to another podcast of the NC Roy County Anime Group. And this will mark our 353rd podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of different subjects, and please bear with us on this particular podcast. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is previews. Now, this is a catalog that I think is put out by Diamond. This is like a ordered catalog. Now, this is August issue. I got it free at the Comic Mon store. They were giving it away because it was outdated. This is last month's. And why I like so much about previews is that sometimes I'll come across a name of an artist that I've never heard of. So I go and look it up and I can say, okay, this is what this artist does. I have found some Japanese artists that I didn't know existed thanks to previews. So I highly recommend it. Oh, by the way, this artwork back here is done by Alex Ross. Now, Alex Ross worked for AD Films and did a beautiful rendition box set for Battle of the Planets. He also worked on the Battle of the Planets comic books covers. He's also busy working on this nice little project that I saw in the next coming September issue of Previews, where he's got the cover of the old Shadow character, the Web, and the Green Hornet all on the same page, and I think the thing's called Mask, and something really great to look at. This particular previews, I found out that the Venus Wars is going to be reissued on DVD, which I'm glad to see some classic anime come back. I also checked the current issue of previews and found that Tenchi Muro in Tokyo is going to be coming back out on DVD as well. So I'm glad to see some classic anime coming out. Now let's move on to something else. This is the Rowan Public Library's box set of Yasha. By the way, all the DVDs I'm showing you, you can check out free from the Rowan Public Library. And I got a little funny story about Yasha I would love to tell you real quick. When I was recovering from a very bad automobile accident in 2006, I had to spend some time with my sister, and she had to go to a chiropractor one day. I'm in the office, and there was this Japanese woman. Her husband had gone in to get his back fixed and worked on. And I was talking to her about Japan, and she had two little kids playing. And then I mentioned the word Inuyasha. The kids stopped for a minute. Now, I don't know how to speak Japanese. I can only assume what they were asking. They were asking, how did I know about Yasha? The mother explained that I was a fan of the series, and we had a nice little discussion. My sister came out, and I went back home to recuperate from my ordeal. In the past, I have taken pictures with people dressed up as Yasha. I've also had fun doing some action poses with people who are dressed up like a Shomaru, Inuyasha's half-brother. Had a wonderful time with those type of pictures. I've always enjoyed the character. Rumiko Takahashi created Inuyasha. She's a marvelous and talented writer. And if we had 1,000 hours, I'd be glad to run your ears off and tell you about Rumiko Takahashi. I think very highly of her as an artist and as a writer. That's all I can really say. Now, the next series I'm going to talk about is Crest of the Stars. Now, this is a science fiction story, and it is beautifully written. I recommend an age for it. I am going to tell you it's at least going to be for at least 14 up. But like I said, it's a great science fiction story. Its music matches 2001: A Space Odyssey. You can ask for a better music score. The pace of the story is very well. The characters are very rounded, and I highly recommend Crest of the Stars. Now, there is a follow-up to Crest of the Stars, and it is called Banners of the Stars. And the same thing applies with this story. It's very well done, nicely paced, and it's a very good science fiction story. And I can't say very much more. I don't want to give too much away. The artwork is marvelous and highly recommend it. There is also another follow-up to that, which is Banner of the Stars 2. And please, if you have the time, check this out. It's wonderful. Bandai did a super job on the dub, and I think that you will really appreciate Banner of the Stars. Now, this next series I also recommended for the Rowan Public Library. If you like vampires, you will love Vampire Night. The animation is very well done, and Viz did an excellent job putting this animated series out. It's very well done. I can't say enough about it. It's not very violent, and you've got really well developed characters in this series. Now, this next one over here I'm going to talk about, it's not a very popular series over here in the United States, but it's very popular over in Japan. And I'm going to talk about Hunter x Hunter. Its story is well done. This young boy is wanting to become an ex-hunter, just like his father. There's some beautiful storytelling in it, nicely done for the age of 8 up as far as story. Music works well, pacing is very well, got very good moral stories, and I highly recommend Hunter x Hunter for family viewing. Now, I'm going to go on to a non-anime. This series was done in the 1960s and starred actor Patrick McGowan. And I'm going to talk about his most famous one, The Prisoner. Harlan Ellison best described it one time best about The Prisoner. Sometimes the story was like a snake, it ate upon itself. But what I liked about The Prisoner was that it had one very important message. And it's something that we barely need these days, very badly needed. And that is to be an individual, to be yourself, to not be confined to what people think that you are supposed to be. And that was I think one of the main focus of The Prisoner, was to be yourself, to be an individual. Like I said, I've seen too many times in society where we got a bunch of wind-up dolls, and if the person went and jumped off the bridge, the rest of the crowd would jump off the bridge. It reminds me of a small little clip, a commercial that I saw when I was a little boy. This country was supposed to have like cats, and this guy comes up, he's a goat, and the guy says, well, you gotta wear a cat costume. He says, no, I'm not gonna wear a cat costume, I'm gonna be myself. Well, the rest of the people who saw him said, wait a minute, I want to be myself, and they started taking off their costumes. And you found out that in the farm you had a chicken, a pig, a rooster, a horse. And it shows that, yes, you need to have individuality. It's something that we very badly need in today's society, that we're made up of a lot of people. I've often said this in quotes in my letters to people: no man is an island among himself. Each man is part of the continent, a part of the main. And that is true. We're all part of society, but at the same time, we have to have an individual society. What would have happened had Benjamin Franklin didn't try to work and discover electricity? What would have happened if, let's say, Alexander Graham Bell gave up on making the telephone? These were important individuals. They had something to give to society. So maybe some people may scoff at you and say, well, that's a bad idea, or that's something that's wrong. But I feel like the individuality is something very important that we need in society. Now, for my last and final non-anime thing, I'm going to talk about Doctor Who, Doom of the Cybermen. This is also something that you can check out at the Rowan Public Library for free. And this story was written by Gary Davis and also to Dr. Kid Pebler. Now, I had the honor and pleasure, even though it was only one day, I met Patrick Troughton. I was at Magnus Opus Con 2. I met him on that Friday, spoke to him, and he talked about his relationship with Fraser Hines and how he respected him as an actor, and that he could never go back to Doctor Who without him. He really had a deeply respect for Fraser Hines. He also talked about his role in the Box of Delights. Now, this is somewhat based on a book, and also too, it was played on public television at one time, and it's a very interesting story. Pat was a major character in that. It's hard for me in some ways because it's sad, because I met Pat Friday and he went to his bedroom. He died of a heart attack in bed. And this is not really the first time that I've had this type of tragedy happen. When I was very young, my parents went to visit some friends, and they had a son, and the son was about, I guess, 15 years old, and we went out to eat, and the son had some friends to come over, and they went out and they went swimming. And what happened was, this boy was already injured, and I don't understand why he went swimming, but he probably thought, well, maybe the exercise was doing good. He got a cramp in his leg. He drowned. And I keep telling people about this, that life is very precious. What time we have here, make the most of it. Be an individual. Do what you can. Whatever talent you have, use it. And that's the message I want to try to give you today. Our next event that we will be having will be on September the 8th. We will be at the Salt Spring Mall for a community day from 10 to 5. Now, on September 12th, we are going to be starting a board game night at the Comic Mon store. This will be happening every Wednesday night from 5 to close. And we hope you can attend. This will start on September 12th. Now, October 20th, we will be having another membership drive, this time at a new location, Dead Ed store. And that will be from 1 to 5. And we hope that you can attend this event. Thank you for watching this podcast today, and I wish you a very good day. Goodbye.